A welcome note by Professor Maurice Info, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Middlesex University, Director, Middlesex University Mauritius. Professor Maurice Info has served as Campus Director of Middlesex University Mauritius since May 1st, 2018. With a distinguished career in higher education leadership across Africa, she brings a wealth of experience in multicultural and multidisciplinary academic environments. Her deep understanding of the African higher education landscape has been instrumental in shaping strategic initiatives and fostering academic excellence at the Mauritius campus, which has seen the campus grow year on year. Professor Murray, we now invite you to the welcome note.
Thank you, Lakshana. Professor Mila Mahe, I'm High Commissioner Higher Education. Dr. Alan Buck, Provost Chancellor Education and Learning. Dr. Phil Barton, Academic Director, colleagues, students, members of the press, welcome. You know what, we started earlier this morning with 12 amazing presentations, and these presentations all actually tells us what Phil earlier said in his address, that we put teaching and learning at the heart of everything we do. So before I do my formal welcome, I would like to show and share a video about our campus.
Welcome to Middlesex University Mauritius, a vibrant campus nestled in the stunning west coast of the island, where we have been shaping futures and enriching student life for 15 years. As an anchor institution in Mauritius, we provide accessible, affordable, British quality education. Our modern, purpose-built campus is more than just a place to learn. It is a community where students thrive, with facilities like the Student House, a fully equipped gym, and cutting-edge lecture theatres fitted with the latest learning technology. We ensure every student has what they need for academic and personal success. We celebrate diversity. With students from over 40 different nationalities, our campus is a true melting pot of cultures. Here, diversity is not just acknowledged, it is embraced, celebrated, and lived every single day. Our international students proudly call Mauritius their second home. Just across from campus, Unicity student residences offer safe, modern, and convenient accommodation, complete with leisure and social spaces that make living here a joy. At Middlesex University, we do not just provide quality education, we deliver a transformative student journey. Our international foundation, undergraduate, postgraduate, and MBA programs are innovative and world-class. With our brand new Trent Park building, designed exclusively for international foundation program students, and dynamic learning environments like the Hornsey Library, collaboration and creativity are always encouraged. At our university, innovation thrives across every discipline. Our IT and engineering students push the boundaries of technology, while our business students lead with strategic thinking. Law students bring boldness and passion, and our psychology students offer deep, critical insight into human behavior. The creativity of our advertising, public relations, and branding students brings fresh ideas to life, shaping the future of communication. From robotics labs to hands-on project work, students engage in real-world problem solving. Middlesex graduates stand out, not just on paper, but in the workplace. With a strong track record of academic excellence and professional success, our alumni are highly sought after by global employers, consistently outperforming expectations. And now, we are raising the bar even higher. This September, we unveil a brand new academic building featuring advanced robotics labs, a modern film and media studio, new computer labs, interactive classrooms, and inspiring open spaces. all designed to enhance the student experience. At Middlesex University Mauritius, the future is not just something we talk about, it is something we build together.
We are serious about education. Today is one of those events where we share best practices. We have acknowledged this morning some amazing colleagues, from professional staff through to academics. We have awarded staff with accolades because we don't just want to recognize them, we want to honor them. We are best practice on the island. When you look at our campus, it actually shows our shareholders' interest in education, bringing affordable UK qualifications to Mauritius. The new building that we will be launching in September, and we hope to invite all of you to come through, is an investment of more than 300 million rupees. It is state of the art. And it's there because we are future looking. We are hoping to introduce soon a BSc Honours in AI with data sciences. We are hoping to introduce soon a B Engineering degree in mechatronics and robotics. This opens up new fields, but it also speaks to the needs of this country. You know, every year we see students graduating with confidence, and this is what we do. We transform lives. We put knowledge into action. We work with industry, we work with our regulators to create something that is actually so extraordinary when you see our graduates. So colleagues, welcome officially to this colloquium. Professor Maurice, I hope that this will give you some insights in what we are doing, but we are looking forward to further engagement and talking about the future and what it is that we do. I will end up again by saying that we are serious about education. This is an anchor institution and we are very proud to be associated with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Maurice. May I please now invite Dr. Ellen Buck, Pro Vice Chancellor, Education and Student Experience at Middlesex University. Dr. Ellen Buck joined Middlesex University in February 2025 from the University of Suffolk, bringing her with a strong track record of strategic leadership in higher education and an expert knowledge of block teaching. As Pro Vice Chancellor for Education and Student Experience, she is committed to enhancing the academic journey of students and empowering staff to thrive in their roles. Her vision centers on delivering an exclusive, high-quality educational experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here with us to celebrate the excellent experience that our students here have at Middlesex Mauritius. I don't have slides, so you're just going to hear me talk on technology and education. And to start, it's worth acknowledging that the use of technology in education is not new. It's manifested through platforms, including the learning management system, audience participation tools such as clickers, and more latterly, as we've seen this morning, tools such as Bluepit and eBox, to enable the quick and transparent testing and gathering of understanding and knowledge. The use of classroom technology has become synonymous with blended learning, understood as a means of combining face-to-face classroom-based teaching and learning experiences with online resources and activities. The ability to blend asynchronous and synchronous learning offers opportunities for flexibility and enhancement of experience. The COVID-19 pandemic created a paradigm shift in the very essence of learning, teaching and assessment in higher education across our globe. Pre-COVID, the learning experience of the traditional student enrolled on a typical programme of study was predominantly campus-based. Technology, typically the learning management system, was positioned as the companion piece. While delivering this model of learning, institutions may have begun to make some, albeit slow, progress towards technology-enabled innovation, with some consideration given to the educational technology landscape. The intra-COVID period, meanwhile, forced a rapid shift towards remote and online learning models. Much of this leap into the online was reactionary, a delivery-driven response, focusing on how to enable access to learning as far as was reasonably possible. But time did not permit a more intentionally and consciously designed learning experience for our students. Emergence from the pandemic was into a world in which many social interactions and business transactions would remain in a blended format, where physical and online spaces would become seamlessly integrated. The educational experiences delivered by higher education institutions, however, landed somewhere on a spectrum between reversion to the campus-anchored experience or to a version of not quite fully tested hybrid learning. At the same time, pockets of new pedagogies began to emerge, looking to build on the COVID experience and perhaps maximising financial investment, and certainly taking a more considered and holistic approach to student-centred learning. For the students living in and between the physical and virtual learning spaces we provided for them, expectations of what learning could and should feel like were profoundly transformed. They too had made a significant investment in digital resource, in developing digital skills and capabilities. For these more digitally at ease students, the traditionally conceptualised blended learning experiences of face-to-face classroom and teaching online resources and activities continued to provide access to the core learning experiences we wanted them to have. But the experience of learning with peers as part of a learning community was not so easily replicated. So several years on, it seems prudent to stop and take stock of where we are in our relationship with technology. As educators, do we view it as enabler or blocker to how we might conceive today's educational experience? For our students, has technology created a landscape where learning has become more accessible, more equitable, or actually more difficult to navigate? Much has been written about the impact of the pandemic on place and adoption of technology in educational delivery. A useful position paper by Guppy and colleagues in the British Journal of Educational Technology in 2022 suggested that COVID would accelerate the adoption of technology and result in the creation of a University 4.0, a university experience in which the geography of the learning environment shifts from physical to virtual, from blended to fully online, opening markets and access internationally. We've seen, as we've seen this morning, marked increase in tools, platforms and providers, and now, of course, AI. Each of these leaves its impact. They extend our reach and will also change our role as educationalists and knowledge experts. So rather than thinking of technology as a driver for change, I would like to suggest that we focus on the elements which underpin a positive learning experience and, as we've heard this morning, community. This is about how we want our students to learn and how we want them to feel about their experiences with us. It's also about how we hope they will grow to understand themselves as learners. And for me, this is about how we, as educators, position ourselves. We're more than imparters of knowledge. Our ability to bring students together and build relationships is and will continue to be critical. Embracing technology can help us to do this. The advancements of technology to deliver learning have surfaced important issues, those of student welfare, in online spaces, and digital poverty, defined as the inability to interact with the online world fully, when, where, and how an individual needs to. We have to question how engagement looks in more blended or technology-enabled experiences. There is perhaps an expectation that in online and blended learning spaces, the relationship and interaction between educator and learner has the same visibility to it as it would in a classroom-based experience. The rhetoric of students don't like online learning rang loud and clear in the rapid move to online, when numbers in attendance dropped. Academics voiced concerns that if cameras weren't on, they couldn't know if their students were actually there or merely logged in while being off doing something else. It is true that for many of the students we encounter, lives are complex, and students have to make choices about how they're going to use the time that they have. They're not time poor, but instead are smart with their time. Like us, they choose to engage in the activities that have the greatest impact and which enable all, including those who are neurodivergent or have disabilities, to access and succeed. In these spaces then, it's beholden upon us as educators to act with humility and compassion, focusing on the creation of authentic connections and community, stretching beyond the curriculum and educational strategies to ethics and care, social justice, hope and post-pandemic, beyond the physical and virtual classroom into the spaces in which learning takes place. We can draw on Bandiar's ethic of care and Loddick's care theory, reflecting as we design on how we nurture mutual relational practices which promote mutual recognition and realisation, growth, development, protection, empowerment and human community, culture and possibility. As educators, we are relatively comfortable with this in face-to-face real-life experiences. We know how to provide accessible formats in the learning management system repository. We understand the role of note-takers or digital recorders in classrooms. We've gotten used to lecture capture and the potential it has to support revision and revisitation of threshold concepts to further understanding. We can provide handouts, make use of group learning activities and assessments, provide opportunities for questions and offer seminars and tutorials. But if we envisage a learning experience which transverses geography, we need to think about how we support the transition of these experiences into blended and online spaces, enabling learning communities to thrive beyond our campuses. Middlesex has a proud history as an educator, building on strong foundations of service to society since 1878. Middlesex aspires to be, and indeed is, an anchor institution for the communities it serves today. We see education as the vehicle for advancing the world in which we live. It is the basis for social justice, for sharing knowledge, for developing skills and creating social change. This is why we are building our strategy for civic engagement across our campuses. At the heart of social change and justice are people, our students and our staff. Learning is an inherently social experience. We learn through safe relationships and nurtured connections. At Middlesex, our aspiration is to deliver a global education. This is enabled by our use of technology. This means that for Middlesex, technology is more than the learning management system, more than AI, more than clickers and any other tool you might be encouraged to and invited to explore in your own classroom delivery. Technology becomes the glue for our institution as we reach beyond our campuses and physical institutional boundaries into a global education global education offer recognised as an exemplar in transformative transnational education. Our international campuses here in London and in Dubai bring a global lens for learning experiences which is unique in the higher education market. Our students don't just study global concepts in law, business and IT, public health and nursing. They experience global, primarily through modules and programmes delivered internationally, and they can study parts of those programmes physically at other campuses or virtually through shared online delivery. In this way, our students also become educators and leaders in their own rights. They learn from the experiences of others firsthand, hearing from global industries and organisations. Our staff also learn in this way, from hybrid annual learning and teaching conferences to a truly international delivery for our postgraduate certificate in learning and teaching aligned to the professional standards framework. Technology has blurred the boundaries of the learning environment. We have maximised the affordances technology offers and created something special, something different. Through technology, we enable those who may not have previously been able to access and succeed in education to do so. And so our students not only transform their lives, but can go on to transform the lives of the communities they go on to serve. Thank you.
Dr. Aiden. I would now like to invite Professor Dr. Rumina Mohi, Commissioner, Higher Education Commission. Professor Dr. Mohi currently serves as the Commissioner of the Higher Education Commission, a respected figure in academia and policy making. She plays a pivotal role in shaping the strategic direction and regulatory framework of tertiary education in Mauritius. Her leadership continues to drive innovation, quality assurance, and accessibility in the higher education sector.
Thank you very much, Professor Mili, about all colleagues, all staff, and I understand our students as well of the Middlesex University. I will start by saying that I was not supposed to be doing a lecture, but having been a lecturer, I'll do a lecture. And also, I have some good news for you. Someone is calling me. Right. So 2 weeks ago, I was in UK together with the Honourable Minister Dr. Sukon, and we were visiting UK University, and we had a very good signature. You must have heard or read about it in the press. It was a huge milestone. Maybe some of you or many people do not realize. It was a huge milestone where we were signing an agreement, the Higher Education Commission, with the QAA UK. And why was it huge? It was because with the new vision of our Honourable Minister, we wanted to streamline processes, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Timol would agree so much with that. Now that she's on the other side, I always say that, that we are streamlining processes for British universities and British programs to be established in Mauritius without all the, I won't say hurdles, but without all the steps and processes that are usually there when a British university wants to establish in Mauritius. I won't say second good news. The other good news was that wherever we went, and I think we visited at least 10 universities, including King's College, Kingston, and others. And at the Education World Forum, which we attended, there were 135 ministers with 1,000 delegates. And we heard very good news about Middlesex University Mauritius. So I would like to congratulate all of you who are here, because you've all contributed under the leadership of Professor Miri to make this happen. And I think I can be a witness to all the discussions we had where British universities were using Middlesex University UK as a model and the branch campus in Mauritius to be able to portray their future into higher education in Mauritius. I think this is a big plus, and probably not enough visibility has been done about that, but we'll see how things go and we can try doing something. So I would say thank you very much for inviting me to be part of your celebrations, and especially to be part of the Teaching and Learning Colloquim 2025. And as you are aware, Professor Mary was there. We are having at national level a higher education summit whereby we are going to chart out the national higher education strategy, which Mauritius will be developing soon. And I am personally chairing the Teaching and Learning Committee, which looks into all the different aspects of teaching and learning in Mauritius. So I don't know whether the Honourable Minister is arriving, or should I do my thing? Okay, all right. So I'll have a very quick presentation because I've been told, should I use this as next? Or? Right. Okay, so I'll just take the opportunity to talk very quickly about how we have innovated at national level in Mauritius during the past 4 years. And some of you must have heard about our technology-enabled learning project, our open educational resources, and the recently developed AI guidelines in higher education, and also capacity building in AI. So when we talk about technology-enabled learning, I guess since you already have an LMS and you're already very familiar with it, we do talk about hybrid learning, e-learning, online learning, blended learning, technology-enabled learning. At the base, everything is about e-learning. It's just that there are different mixes. For example, when we talk about blended learning, we talk about a mixture of online and face-to-face learning. So it could be 10%, 90%, 50%, 50%. So that's why there are lots of jargon. And I always say IT people, maybe they can identify themselves in the room, they like to complicate matters so that others do not understand, and it looks so important. You know, we're talking about technology-enabled learning. I was just reading last week about the different AI tools that are there. I'm wondering, oh my God, why do they use such complicated terms? It could have been simpler for everybody. Anyway, we are here to make it simple. So I will talk about this project that we did at the Higher Education Commission with the Commonwealth of Learning, which comprised of 4 phases: the foundation phase, the capacity building phase, the scaling and sustainability, and the action plan and benchmarking. And during these 4 phases, indeed, as Dr. Dutt is saying, we've been there, we've seen mistakes, and we have tried to reframe and revisit along the way. Actually, I will start with a story. So when I came back from the Commonwealth of Learning in 2020, the Commonwealth of Learning is the pioneer of online learning in the world. They have developed most of the online learning pedagogy tools, and together with UNESCO, they have driven whatever we call now blended online. They coin all kinds of phrases. Even the open educational resources was coined by COL and UNESCO some years back. So when I came back, and I said, let me do a survey. We are in full COVID, so let me do a survey about how everybody is embracing online learning, because everywhere I went, most of the universities, I'm talking more about public universities, they are saying, yes, yes, we are doing online learning, yes, we are doing ODL, we are doing OER, etc. And I was pleasantly surprised when I heard all this. However, after doing my survey, I was not pleasantly surprised. Because, to be very honest, I think a lot of people were doing at that time in 2021 emergency remote teaching. So everybody thought uploading my PDF, WhatsApping my students some materials, or using an LMS means online learning. And I would like to really impart the message I say to everybody. The LMS is like the computer. The real online learning, what is really important, and I know that Middlesex, UK, and even in Mauritius, we do a lot of that. It's all about the pedagogy of online learning. And this is what people have to understand. So what you have to translate in an online learning course is more about the pedagogy, is more about those gaps. Now I'm talking to you. If I were not here, I would have played a video. How do I close these gaps of questions, interaction, engagement, taking feedback from you, answering questions? It's not that easy when you're going on an online platform, and that's why you educators you have to really engage in the pedagogy of online learning together with, of course, all the tools, not the hardware, or the technicians would say we need this LMS, we need this technology, etc. Technologies are technologies. We, at the end of the day, we are the ones that will enable, enhance the work of these technologies. I think I've answered the first question of the panel, so probably you will be the panel. Right, so just to go very quickly, so in 2021 I said, now this is not correct at all, because we would be a bit ashamed to say we are doing online learning when in fact we are doing emergency remote teaching. That's why I started working with the Commonwealth of Learning. I was also on that side some years back, so I very well knew all the tools and instruments. And then we did a baseline study, and actually with the public universities we realized that there was indeed a gap, and we wanted to be, how would I say, we wanted to be really integrating everyone. So we said, let's start with national guidelines. So we started with developing on national guidelines on what is online learning, what is blended learning, etc. Then we asked all the public universities to develop their policies aligned to our national guidelines as the FTC. The UOM, I have to be honest, for 15 years, I mean even under my leadership as Vice Chancellor, had already had centers of online learning, but even they develop their institutional policy, reframe it according to the Higher Education Commission guidelines, and very importantly were faculty training. We really invested into capacity building for faculty to be able to understand what is an ODL, what is a blended program, what is an OER, and later you will see we even went into AI. Then we asked all those faculties, more than 100 faculty members were trained. We asked them, how about developing now ODL OER courses? Because there's something which is very close to my heart, and I see a lot of international, I would say that. We always tend to think we should take, with all due respect to Middlesex UK, of course, that we should take whatever the world has done and try to use it here. How about us using our authentic indigenous knowledge and adding and contextualizing to those that have already developed? How powerful that would be. So I said we have to develop our authentic courses. We have very experienced faculty members. Now they know the tools, so they develop. We have developed up to now more than, I would say, around 90 fully online modules which observe all the concepts of open educational resources, which means that everyone would be able to take that OER, contextualize, change, adapt, and use it in their classes. Everyone in the public universities, everyone in the private universities, everyone in the region, and everyone in the world. Do you imagine how powerful that becomes to put Mauritius on the international market? That we are also able to contribute to knowledge, which is our I would say, mandate. Then we enroll students. Now I can hear Mary saying, how about the student experience? Where are the surveys, right? So, of course, we did it the good way. So students were enrolled, and then we did student experience survey. Now compare when you listen to a thermodynamics class. I developed that 25 years ago as a distance learning, the thermodynamics. When I started that, everybody said, no, we can't teach mathematics or formula like this. But then, I mean, this is another story. We did surveys, and the failure rate got down a lot with all the engineering students because of the materials being ready. Okay, so then we enrolled students in 2020 to 2023, and then we did surveys, and then we had a total of around 11 workshops and training. We had a national OER committee because we were mandated to implement the national OER policy in Mauritius. And then last year, with AI, Gen AI, everybody becoming so like excited about that, I said we have to integrate AI because we're talking about technology, and Commonwealth of Learning accepted. So what we did 3 surveys with policymakers, with faculty, with students, and wanted to know where are we. I think that was September last year. And based on the surveys, then we did the AI guidelines in higher education, right? Apart from EU, we are going to be, or if we are not already, the only country that has AI guidelines and is going to have AI regulations in higher education. And that's a big plus for us. And then 1 month ago, we had a professor who came and trained all the faculties, not all, some, in generative AI, especially how to assess. Assessment is a big thing. Teaching, okay, you will use generative AI, this one will say that, this other one will say, and you can always work with it to make sure that it does respond to your needs. How about now when you have 40 essays similar in paragraph in front of you, when marking essays is part of your portfolio, right? So all this will have to change. And by saying that, okay, we should not let the students use AI. I mean, you like it or not. Our students are digital natives. You like it or not, they will use it. You better adapt to it rather than us then adapt to like your kind of ways. So we had training of faculty members on AI, and I've asked them, because they've been trained, they will now develop an OER, which I hope in 1 or 2 months will be available for everyone to use. They use all kinds of tools called Swift, called assessment, called, okay, I do not really want it to go to that jargon, I will leave it to the professionals in AI. But basically, we've got to understand and integrate AI in our teaching, even us as administrators, as regulators, as government authorities, because at the end of the day, your student, when they leave the university, they've got to be very familiar with what AI offers and what are the challenges. We know there are a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge, which I adore saying, is about the ethics. And I think I'll say that before I continue. Do I have time? We're waiting for, yeah? Right. Right, so when I was at the Commonwealth of Learning, we were looking into AI at that time. And I looked into, I don't know why I was interested. I was the higher education specialist. So I looked into how companies in Canada and the US were using AI to recruit. You know that most of them recruit now. You know, if you want a job on LinkedIn, put the good words, AI will take out those good words and then you will be shortlisted. Otherwise, you're not even shortlisted. Because it's not a human that is doing the shortlisting, it's an AI that is doing the shortlisting. Good tip, right? Then, when we looked at some companies recruiting CEOs, we found that they are not recruiting any women. Now, Mary would know this is so dear to our hearts. Every time Mary and I get into a national event, that's another secret, we will text and say, oh, only men? Where are the women? We keep on saying that, isn't it, Mary? Even last week. Yeah. So, why do you think only CEOs only males were being recruited as CEOs? It wasn't because they think that, with all due respect to water boys, it's not because we think that they are much better. It's just because in the database of existing CEOs that the AI will do machine learning and learn from that, all the attributes were males. All those who were in the database were males. So how will the AI shortlist a female? So there were a lot of bias. A lot of bias happening when AI is recruiting. This is one, and of course we know how AI is creating digital inequality. Because not everybody will have access to the AI tools. And today you're very happy you learned ChatGPT. Next week it is now Gemini. Next week it is now DeepSeek. Now it's saying this was is not good, etc. Not easy to navigate. Okay, so I will just go very quickly over the different steps. So the foundation stage, we did the baseline study, and we evaluated the preparedness of 4 public universities in Mauritius on the status of their strategy. And of course, we're very serious as Professor Maurice said, we are also very serious, and we published the findings of what we found on the Commonwealth of Learning website. So we had these two projects, which was one in 4 public institutions, and then MGI and MIE were very happy with our work and wanted to jump in this whole wagon, I would say. Then we had the national guidelines, because at national level, there were no guidelines about how to do the e-learning strategy or technical learning. It was around 5 pillars: strengthening governance, consolidating technology and infrastructure, enhancing teaching and learning, building professional development, and leverage on a dynamic ecosystem of collaboration. Right, so we had the 6 universities where we signed agreements with them, and they then developed their institutional policies based on our national guidelines. So there were UOM, UTM, UDM, OU, MIE, and MGI. And then they developed all of them their own institutional strategy based on the national guidelines. Capacity building. So we did a lot of workshops. We had resource persons from abroad, we had resource persons from Mauritius, we had trained the trainers. And mind you, these were tough workshops. I don't know, Shine, did you follow one of them? These were very tough workshops because resource persons, especially those coming from other places, were having very strict rules about, you know, doing a session and then evaluating, because this is the biggest tool of AI, right? When you do an online course, and you do the course, then you reach a quiz, and then you have to pass the quiz. And the most important tool, which I personally feel we are having with online, for us as a learner, is the instant feedback. The instant feedback is so precious, because if you would have been in class, you would have been shy to ask the question, maybe. And then the lecturer can't answer 100 or 20 questions every step of the way. So using this power of online learning is, I think, one of the most important tools, having those instant feedback. And the resource person, when they came, they wanted to have instant feedback. So the second workshop, that person was asking all the lecturers, at the end of the day, every day at 3 o'clock we'll have quiz, and then I'll give you your marks. And the next day, no one almost turned up for the workshop. And that were all faculty members from universities, but we managed to convince them. So in all, we had 11 workshops over 2 years, and resource person from Canada and India. Will not come over the performance framework now. And as I told you, we've developed 88 fully developed ODL under the project, but now we are continuing to develop the projects. They will soon, I hope in about 2 months, be uploaded on the National OER repository and open to everyone, right? And what's interesting, I believe with this project, we've done a huge empowerment. You know, institutions like MGI, I would say MIU was okay because they were used to having educators from the tertiary sector. MGI thought they would never be able to get into that one because we've always treated MGI because of, I won't say, I don't know why, but you know, these people, they do culture, they do music, they do this, and we seem to think that this is not important. But the best result, of course I don't say that when I go to public universities, the best results for each module came from the MGI. And they did modules like art education, introduction to folklore, folk culture and oral traditions. Now what's the beauty of that? The beauty of that is that nowhere else in the world you have an online course on that. Which means that everyone in the world wants to know about Mauritian folklore. They would go into that course and now have an idea, and they can collaborate lecturer with lecturer, researcher with researcher on many things which we were shy to put ahead formally. Fundamentals of Indian and Ayurvedic philosophy and Sanskrit and or even music, vocal Hindustani stuff. So these are the 88 courses which are already available as OER. The last part of that project on TEL was now to evaluate the 6 institutions in 10 categories, and based on their findings, develop action plan for the next 3 years on how they will integrate technology and AI in higher education. And next Tuesday, I hope Mary got an invitation, we are launching the benchmarking reports of the 6 universities, where they were, what have they achieved over the 4 years, and what they have as action plan. Right, a little note about open educational resources, another very powerful tool, because this can be a piece of music, this can be a picture, this can be a course, this can be a poem, this can be anything, provided it follows the concepts of OER. Some, probably 3 or 4 years ago, so Mauritius signed the finalization of the national OER policy, and the Higher Education Commission was asked to implement that. And so we set up a high-level committee, and we were asked to develop OER resources at pre-primary, primary, secondary, tertiary, because if another pandemic happens, we have all the courses there. Right. I was responsible for tertiary, and for primary, secondary, they are coming forward now, but it's taking more time. And yeah, our artificial intelligence, because I cannot finish this talk without talking about artificial intelligence. AI use in higher education is set to grow by 40% between 2021 and 2027. Let me tell you another story. So back then, I will not tell you, I can tell you which year, because now you know my age. In 1988, I developed my final year project using AI to control a distillation column. When to open the valve, I don't know how many engineers are in the room, when to open the valve, when the pressure goes down, etc. All was done by a system expert, an expert system, which at that time was AI. AI was all system expert. And however, for many years we've seen like a, I would say, dwindling of AI, and then, as you all know, it has come back with a lot of force, some 2 years, 3 years back, and it is set to grow. Everywhere you go, people just talk about AI in agriculture, in higher education, in this, in that, and you also see, isn't it, when you go on Facebook, and the girls, and you've looked up the latest boots, or latest shoes, right, which were there in some shops, isn't it? Next day you open Facebook, they give you 5 shops with all the boots or shoes. When you watch a Netflix movie, how many of you do watch Netflix movies? Right. Okay. I hope you like these movies. So put love or like. The next day, movies you have liked. Now you can watch this, right? So AI is talking you already, right? And this will become more and more. My son, who is very avid of watching movies, tells me, why do you lose time and put the TV and then select and, you know, just change channels? Just ask the AI to choose the best movies they have in the database as to what you watch or you love. I mean, this is not really free choice, but anyway, this is where the world is going. I believe many things, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, whatever you watch, whatever you read, you have an AI there already telling you, you like eating burger. So AI won't say it's not good for your health. It will say, oh, maybe you should try like an amended version of the burger. Right, so we at the MGC were very concerned. Now students are giving 20 same essays. What will the lecturers do? After change the assessment, but assessment has already been validated through teaching and learning frameworks, accredited by HEC, so of course we cannot just choose. So this, I was very concerned with that, because it's so easy today just put 3 words, it writes a poem, it writes an essay, a letter, whatever. So then we started doing free surveys, because we wanted to know in universities, at faculty level, at student level, and even at university level, how many people have policies? How many people are using AI? How do they assess now assignments based on AI? And 2 months ago, the Commonwealth of Learning has launched policies and practices of AI. And surprisingly, they have more or less the same results as us. We have authentic data in Mauritius, and they have same when they've done over the whole Commonwealth, where they said like more than 65% didn't have policies yet, where 87% of lecturers are using AI. So I saw some similarities. So based on the findings, then we developed, okay, these are the surveys that we did with ministries, higher education institutions, etc. And if I'm not wrong, I think the average version is on the website of the HEC. And then we developed guidelines, guidelines for the use of AI in higher education, dealing with governance, teaching, learning, assessment, and ethics. And these guidelines are going to be released next Tuesday by the Honourable Minister, who I think is here. So this is not that we are going to launch this next Tuesday. And here you are. Welcome, Minister. I'll finish in 2 minutes. Yeah. So these are the guidelines, and with again blessings of the Honourable Minister, we hope this will be translated into regulations very soon for higher education institutions. And just to finish, I would say to drive digital transformation, online learning, etc., there are challenges. But if we want to do it, there needs to be a strong leadership coupled with the support of everyone to guide technological innovation, governance, have a shared vision, strategy, capacity building of staff and others, and of course to be as inclusive as possible. So we have not talked about people with special education needs or people who need translation in many languages, etc. That would be for another time. And therefore, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mohi. I would now like to invite Dr. the Honorable Kavirat Sharma Sukon, Minister of Tertiary Education, Science and Research, for the keynote address. Dr. the Honorable Kavirat Sharma Sukon, PFHEA, serves as the Minister of Tertiary Education, Science and Research. A passionate advocate for educational advancement and scientific innovation, he is an instrumental in driving national policies that promote research excellence, institutional development, and global competitiveness in the tertiary education sector. Minister of Tertiary Education, all protocols observed. May I please now invite you?
The Commissioner of HEC, Professor Maurice, Provost Chancellor and Director of Middlesex Campus here, colleagues, students, good afternoon. Apologies for coming late. The cabinet meeting just finished. I'm here. I have to rush back to my parliamentary committee meeting. But I'm very happy to be here and to say happy anniversary. On 15 years in Mauritius. And as you know, we would like to encourage you to grow. And as a concrete action we've just taken is we signed an agreement with QA UK so that programs that and institutions that have been reviewed by QA UK wouldn't go through the long accreditation process again in Mauritius. So, what we say we're doing. Concerning the topic that I've been asked to talk, I think we will know that if we continue to teach the way we were taught, we continue to teach today's students the way we were taught, we are definitely robbing their tomorrow. So we cannot. The focus should be on innovation. Not necessarily technology always, because technology is very important. The Commissioner Heck was talking about it. But it is not always the panacea. It is important. What is important is that we've got to have our teaching methods anchored in sound pedagogies. This is vital. They have to be student-centered, and they have to prepare the students for what the cliche says, the jobs of tomorrow that nobody knows today. So, this is what is important. Of course, today's technology, powered by AI, allows you to do things that wouldn't have been possible. For instance, for students, they write your assignments on ChatGPT. But for teaching, it allows the educator to be able to identify weaknesses and strengths earlier through the analytics available on the learning management systems. So you identify their strengths and weaknesses and provide support. Because I sincerely believe where we are going is towards personalized learning. It requires a lot of work. We are all different. Why should a teacher assume that we will all learn in the same way, and that we will all learn the same content, and that we will all behave in the same way, when we're all different? So, personalized learning is something which technology can help achieve. Because I may be teaching maths, I may be good in algebra, but my friend sitting next to me may be very strong. May be very weak in algebra. I'm strong in algebra, he's weak. But the teacher in front of us is teaching us in the same way, without realizing that most probably my friend would need more support in algebra. And I'm weaker in trigonometry, so I need more support here. So which is possible to do, right? Provided that you have sufficient people to create that powerful content that is required to feed AI. AI doesn't work on its own. We've got to have data using your systems that you have, your student information system, your learner management system, right? The access to the e-library, right? Your assignment marks, all this would feed into the AI to be able to produce the personal. So yes, technology is a powerful tool. But if your teaching is not grounded in sound pedagogy, it won't work. Without technology, you have several other techniques, like collaborative learning. Being a mathematician, I would take examples from mathematics. Unfortunately, one simple concept like the mean I have been teaching that to different age groups, even to doctoral students. What is mean? If I used to do that test, mean, everybody says, give me one answer, which is common. Add everything, divide by number you have, that's mean. But for decision making, for example, if I'm teaching that to an MBA student, we've got to understand what is the information is captured in that thing. What does it actually represent? What is the decision I can make based on the value of the mean that has been given? Does that require technology, this one? Simple techniques like I get 4 or 5 students here, give each one a number of pens or elastic band, whatever you want, and ask them to distribute among themselves till such time they all have the same number. And this is what actually the average means, right? And in fact, what it means is, where is the center of the data set, right? It indicates the center of the data set. So this one doesn't require technology. It requires techniques like collaborative learning, where we get all the minds together to think together to be able to learn. At the same time, problem-solving techniques. Right? You will see universities offering medical courses. They differ in the pedagogy. Some use problem-solving techniques. Right? Have the student there, like some of the MBA programs have a simulation over 72 hours or 48 hours, where you are given money, you are given employees, you are given a company to run, and you've got to ensure that you know whatever you've learned, how to use that to run that technique. Again, you don't need technology, it's real problem solving, and this helps the students acquire the skills that would allow the students to be better prepared to solve problems that that he or she will face in real life. So, I believe that, I'm just looking at my time, give me 10 minutes, so. Otherwise, I'll keep on talking. So, what I believe is, it's not about technology or not technology. It's about innovation. It's about preparing the student, right, so that he or she has the skills that will allow him or her to adapt to the workplace. And you would agree with me, there's no university on this earth that can say that, well, I am producing graduates that are employable. Doesn't happen. Most probably because no university on this earth can actually acquire all the tools, equipment you have at the workplace at the university. That's why we need to have that synergy between universities and the industry, so that the industry opens the doors, our academicians can work together with our academicians, and researchers can work with the people from the industry. Our students can acquire the skills required to work there, right? And I think that here's an opportunity, another way of learning, to get our students to become more and more employable. So, here we are, and I'm happy that you organize such an event, especially on something very important about teaching. To conclude, I hope one day we reach a stage where the academic knocks his head with that of the student, and there's instant transfer. Right? Till that day, thank you very much.